Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy, and once again we're here talking about some books from 2019. This is no particular genre, this is just other books rather than mystery, thriller, or male romances that I may have read and enjoyed throughout the year of 2019. I don't have any honorable mentions because I actually didn't read that many. It was actually hard to choose like a top 5. So with that said, I do have 2 4-star reads that I'll mention first, and then my next 3 were definitely 5 stars. So for number 5, I chose 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. I was actually surprised by this book. I really enjoyed it. So it's basically about 9 strangers that go to like this sort of wellness resort, I guess, to try to either better themselves, lose weight, whatever it may be. This resort is, they've heard that is supposed to help you relax and just be a better you. It gets very interesting with these 9 perfect strangers, I guess, which they're all very not perfect, but they are very quite interesting. We mainly follow Frances, who is a romance author. She's kind of losing her touch a little bit, so she wants to just kind of go like replenish and maybe help her get her romance writing back on the game. She's a very funny character. I loved her character. And we do follow the other characters as well. We get all their points of views, which I really enjoyed. The head of the resort, this woman is quite interesting. So the ending sort of takes like a nice twisty little turn. It's nothing mystery or thriller about this book. It was just a fun fiction, contemporary, fun read. I don't know how else to explain it, but I enjoyed it. I really didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I didn't have high hopes going into it, but I actually really did, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. And then next up at number 4, I don't have a copy of this book. I do have a copy of this book, but I can't find it, so I'm guessing I loaned it to Debbie, because that would be the only person I would loan my books to that I would trust. But I'll put up a picture of it here, and it is Every Day by David Levithan. I read this early in the year of 2019. This is a young adult. I gave it 4 stars, and now I'm wondering why I gave it 4 stars, because I've raved about it before, and now I'm wondering if I should have gave it 5 stars. I don't know, but I don't know what made me give it 4 stars. But I did listen to this book on audio. I also did listen to this book on audio, which the narration was phenomenal, with 9 people to narrate for. This person did very well. Who was it that narrated this book? Caroline Lee narrated this book. She did a phenomenal job. And Alex McKenna narrated Every Day by David Levithan. This is a young adult, and I just thought it was just so good. And I felt like it had almost like a lesson to be learned hidden within it. So we have this being. They are not necessarily, there's no like set sexuality for this person. They wake up every day as a different person. They could be male, female, transgender, a male, female who is lesbian or gay, black, white, Mexican, Asian. It doesn't matter. It's like they wake up every day as a different person. They have to live like that day out as that person. And I know why I gave it 4 stars, because there was like really no reason why. I don't remember anything saying why this being was there doing it. Was this an angel coming in to someone's life to maybe help them in some kind of way, or help the people around them? I'm not sure at all what the reason for this person waking up every day as a different person. I think that's why I gave it 4 stars, because I didn't really understand that meaning, but I liked that. I enjoyed the storyline of it. And so anyway, the whole, like the main story of this book was that this person fell in love with someone else, and this person is female. So no matter who they wake up as, they try to seek this person out and try to make this person realize who they are, and I'm the same person you were with yesterday, just in a different body. It was just so good. And it, like I said, it's almost like a little lesson learned with somewhere in this book that it doesn't matter who you are or who you love. You are a person, and that you are a human, and that person is a human. And if y'all love each other, love is love, basically. I just thought it was so good. And it does leave you hanging. So there is a second book, and it's called Someday, which I have on my TBR, which I need to read. I'm hoping that either, and I think there might be a third book. I don't know, I'll have to look into that, but I'm hoping there's a reason behind this. It almost looks like on the cover, like fallen angels or something. So like I said, are these angels coming into these people's lives to help them in some sort of way? I don't know what it is, but I loved this book, and I loved whatever meaning it had behind it. At number 3, I have A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kammerer. This book surprised me because I haven't really read young adult fantasy in a really long time. That used to be my jam years ago, but then I kind of lost interest in it. And then I tried to pick up a book, but I didn't have much to go on with that book. That book sort of disappointed me, so I kind of like got out of young adult fantasy. But I came across this book. I love Beauty and the Beast. It's my favorite Disney movie, I guess, or Disney romance pairing. I don't know what you call it, but I love Beast and I love Beauty. So this is sort of a retelling. This is sort of a modern day / fairy tale retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And I love our Belle, who her name is Harper. She's just your average girl. There's nothing, you know, stand out. There's nothing about her that stands out. She's just a kind, loving person that you can easily, I can see how you can easily like her or fall in love with her, whatever it may be. But yeah, it really shocked me. I wasn't thinking that I went into it thinking that I wasn't gonna like it, but I mainly picked it up for the cover. And then number 2, once I read what it was about, I was like, oh, I gotta give this a shot. But it kind of sat on my TBR because, like I said, I just haven't really been into young adult fantasy. And then one day I did like a random picking of my TBR, and I ended up picking this. And so I read it, and I actually like couldn't put it down. I actually really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. So yeah, so Harper is our Belle, I guess, and then Prince Rin is our Beast. So they live in 2 different worlds. Harper is from our modern world, like in a world we live in today, and Prince Rin is from like a fairy tale land world where you don't have all the technology of like today. And she is brought into that world by an incident that sort of takes place in the beginning of the book, and she wasn't supposed to be the actual female that was supposed to be picked and brought to Prince Rin to try to break the curse. So when they meet, they basically don't like each other, and Prince Rin just knows that the curse will never be broken and he is doomed. I think he has like this is his one last shot to break the curse. Their friendship grows into something else, and Harper becomes really invested in the world, that world where Prince Rin is at, his kingdom, and the people that he rules over. She wants to help them in any way she can, and it's just a cute little story of how our world and that world intertwines with each other. And it's not all about beauty, and it's deeper. It's about inner beauty and just being a beautiful person inside and out. It was just a cute story, and I really appreciated it. And I know she just came out with the second book to this, because this one definitely kind of leaves you hanging a little bit. So I'm anxious to see what happens to Harper. and Prince Ren. I had a tough time deciding whether these next two books were which one was gonna be number one, my number one pick. And it may come as a shock to you what my number one pick is, but my number two pick is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved this. I did not read it. I listened to this on audio. It had a full cast of actors that read it, and oh my god, that was phenomenal. I highly recommend, if you have not picked this up yet, I highly recommend you listen to it on Audible, because or audio, it doesn't have to be audible, but audio. It really just brings this to life. It was almost like watching VH1's Behind the Music. I don't know if any of you remember VH1 Behind the Music stories, but that's what this reminded me of, and especially with the cast of characters and the narration that went along with this story. A lot of people said that they didn't enjoy it as much just reading it as they did listening to it, so I can't say either way because I didn't read it. But we have, of course, our main character is Daisy, and she ends up coming into the band The Six, and that hence Daisy Jones and the Six. So it's basically just their story of love, sex, and rock and roll, basically. And I loved the little twist at the end to the story. I really did like that. I heard some people say that they didn't like that, or they weren't impressed by it, or whatever, but I thought it was very clever, the way that the ending played out, and just like I said, the little twist that was at the end. So of course Daisy Jones and the Six, they end up splitting for whatever reason, and then this interview happens. I think Bella's at the door. Yeah, so it's just basically the story of how the band came about, how they met Daisy, how the band played out once Daisy joined the band, the craziness they went through. I highly recommend the audio if you have not read this book yet. And my number one pick for this category of just other things that I read in 2019 is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This really hit me. I cried so much throughout this book. So, and this is a trigger warning for this book. This does have to do with teenage suicide, but you can't help but listen intently to Hannah's story. Hannah is our young adult that is telling us her story of leading to this point. And what she does is she basically records everything that leads her to her breaking point on these tapes, and she sends a copy out to people that have contributed to, I guess, her suicide, and then that person has to pass these tapes along to the next person on the list. So Clay was a friend of hers, but they didn't know each other well. So we're taking this journey with him as he listens to Hannah's tapes, and he doesn't understand why he's a part of this, because they hardly knew each other. They might have ran across each other a couple of times. Clay really liked Hannah, so he's just confused about where his part is in this whole story. It was so sad and heartwarming, and like I said, I cried a lot throughout this book, and just having to read Clay's thoughts, it was just so heartbreaking. But it just hit me in a spot that I just loved it, and I loved the story and the meaning behind it and how it was played out. It was so cleverly done. So yeah, that's my number one pick. Those are my top 5 other reads that I read throughout in 2019 that I just really enjoyed, and I wanted to share those with y'all. As always, I'll have these books linked down below in my description box, along with my social medias. Come over and say hello, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye y'all.